Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for joining us this week on your number one favorite technology show on TV, Tech In, Tech Out. My name is MD Tiamiyu, and I'm so excited to have you on board today. As you know how we do it on this show, I'm going to be giving you news and updates from the technological scene, and then we get very personal by interviewing a professional in the field before I share with you very amazing tips and tricks that will turn your digital experience around like this. On the news today, a company called Waymo has unveiled their virtual reality experience to make driverless cars less scary. And ladies and gentlemen, before I go, the last part of the news today would focus on how experts have warned us to control artificial intelligence now before it gets us into trouble. Don't go anywhere. I'll be back with full details of the news. The show is still Tech In, Tech Out. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for staying tuned. Today's episode of Tech In, Tech Out is going to be really a blast because I have a very amazing and interesting personality on set. But before we get into the core of the interview, you know how we do it in this segment. This is a segment where we get very real by bringing an expert, a professional on a particular subject. Today we are focusing on agriculture. Agriculture, as you know, is a lifeline of the people. This is how we get our food and resources that power our body and keep our soul and body together. With me in the studio is Mr. Ogbole Samson, a doctor turned biochemist turned agricultural researcher. Thank you so much for coming around in such a very short notice. How is Lagos been for you?
Awesome.
Oh, great.
Awesome.
So Mr. Samson, let's get straight into our discussion. This is Tech In, Tech Out show. So we are profiling agriculture and the role of technology in agriculture. I know as a person who has done a lot of research and leading researches across different spheres in the agricultural space, you have contributed so much to the development of technology, the usage of technology in the agricultural space. So what can technology do for agric? What can technology really do?
Great. I always tell people, look at every sphere of human life today in Nigeria. We have moved from banking sector from the times where we had ledgers in banks to an era where we now have computers and all of that. We have internet banking and all. But when you come to agriculture, you still have farmers depending on hoes and cutlasses. Now, if every other sphere that is not seemingly so important as food, which is the basics of human survival, already has technology helping them out, why not the farmer? Why must the farmer be left behind? I tell people, I say, agriculture will become unimportant the day we are able to download food from internet.
Wow, I wish that would happen, but I'm not seeing it coming.
Exactly.
Coming true.
Until that day, agriculture is relevant. And whatever would ease food production, food processing, cloth production, shelter production, needs to have the best of technology to ensure that our future is secured.
What exactly do you do in Nigeria? What are you doing in Nigeria?
Okay. What we are looking at is something futuristic.
Okay.
Not a futuristic technology, but a future where we ensure that we have survival of our generations today. It is already predicted that by the year 2050, we are going to have 450 million Nigerians.
Wow.
Now, this may not sound alarming for some people, but this is what we need to remember. What are the factors for food production? Land, water, air, light. By the year 2050, our land would still remain the same. Water would remain the same. Light will remain the same. Air would remain the same. But the population...
When you say light, you mean sun?
Light. It doesn't have to be sun.
Okay, anything light.
Light that brings light.
Okay.
Now, what this means essentially is by the year 2050, factors of production is the same, but the people has increased. All our lands are not fertile for growing. What this means is if we cannot feed ourselves today, how do we feed ourselves then? So we must find a way to produce food that is not soil dependent.
Okay.
And the only way to do that is to go to what we call soilless growing technology.
Wow.
Now, when we say we want to grow our plants without soil, people always say, how would you grow plants without soil? And I ask them the fundamental question, do you need soil to grow your plants? They go, yes. And I ask, if you need soil to grow plants, why do we apply fertilizers to the soil? And they're like, okay, so we need nutrients. I'm like, yes. If our plants requires nutrients, so we need to ask ourselves, what is the function of the soil component? The soil is meant to just support the plants.
To hold it.
To hold it.
Okay.
The soil is meant to ensure that there is a place to retain water and for the nutrients to pass. If I can get a substitute for these, automatically my plant can grow without soil.
So I would ask you this. Somebody will ask you, is it necessary? Because we are even yet to finish the land, the soil that we have. Why are we trying to plant without the soil when there's enough soil anyways?
Good. Now, it is 100% necessary for two reasons.
Okay.
Nigeria has enough land, yes. But we forget the fact that only about 30% of the land is fertile for growing. One. Two, we understand what transport is in Nigeria today.
Okay.
And if we understand what the transport system is, we understand we do not have storage facilities for our food. As it is today in Nigeria, our farmers produce enough food for the populace.
Okay.
But over 60% gets spoiled on the farms. What if we can bring our farms from the villages to the city and have urban farms?
Okay, and so with this concept of soilless farming, we wouldn't have to bother about the soil being in the village. No. The soil can be anywhere.
No, not even the soil. You just need a space.
You just need a space.
So you have a vertical space.
Yeah.
You can grow 10 layers.
Wow.
Upwards.
Wow.
That means your one plot of land is equivalent to 10 plots
of land
because you are going vertically upwards.
You're taking advantage of the vertical space.
Two, another importance of this is, I tell people, hunger is not seasonal. Food production cannot be seasonal. So if
you get hungry on a daily
basis. It is not okay to only eat maize during rainy season. But with soilless growing, you can grow any time of the year.
Wow.
What that means is today, you have a time of the year where tomatoes is cheap. If we can grow every time of the year, the time tomatoes is cheap becomes the norm throughout the year.
Wow.
So together we crash the price of food.
Wow. Food is available
now.
It's
available. Then you also realize that with soilless growing, it is easier for you to manage your farm. Because the farm is automated.
Wow.
You tell people, you hear people say things like, oh, the youth are not interested in agriculture. And I tell them, give the youths remote to control the farm and tell me they won't pick it up.
Definitely they will.
They are not interested in hoes and cutlass.
That's what they are not interested in.
Not in agriculture.
Fantastic. This is getting very interesting. Let's take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. The show is still your own favorite. Tech in, tech out. Thank you for joining us again. So I still have Mr. Samson Ogbole in the studio with me. It's been a very interesting. When we went for the commercial break, we were talking about peeing and using that pee to grow your plants the organic way. It's been very interesting. So how do you discover some of this very rare concept of agriculture?
I would say it was a fortunate turn of events. I was opportunity to go and serve with International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, which is IITA. And during my service year, I was posted to a unit called IPSWA 1, where they were trying to grow yam without soil in the air. And they thought, oh, since they studied biochemistry, that biochemistry meant chemicals, which is understandable. And when I came in and I saw what they were trying to do, I had to key into it. And we worked and we were successfully able to do that as far back as 2013, grow yam without soil. And I asked myself, there should be other things that we can grow without soil. And I realized NASA has started growing lettuce and all of that in space without soil. And I said, instead of focusing on growing foreign crops, why not try and grow our own indigenous crops without soil? Considering the fact that, a typical Nigerian is not after parsley. But we want to know, can I get ugu in my house all year round? And successfully, we have been able to do over 200 crops between now and then.
Wow.
And while doing this, we are able to come up with a concept we call Smart Farm. Now, Smart farm, we just jokingly call it the big B. What do we call the big B? We call it the big breath. Everybody on earth has one thing in common, which is breath. We are called living things because of our breath. But being alive is not enough. There is something much more than that, which is what we are doing at Smart Farm, which are what we call the 3 small Bs. In Smart Farm, we provide all the staff on the farm with the first B, which is bed. So everybody on the farm that is a staff gets free shelter.
Okay.
Secondly, on the farm, we provide a second B, which we call bread. By bread, we're not talking about salary first. We actually provide food quarterly that you are going to eat for the next quarter for free. Now, as a young university leaver, what is your first concern? Shelter and food.
Yeah.
And you have a place that tells you this is shelter, this is food. Then the third B for us is bandwidth. By bandwidth, on the farm, the place is totally out of what is it called? The place is a remote village, so there is no electricity, but we're able to install solar panel to provide 24 hours light. We provide 24 hours internet service to the people on the farm.
Wow.
Then we ensure that they are connected to the rest of the world. Now that we have given them all of these tools, they have only one job. The farm is automated. Everything is automated with soilless growing. They have only one job, and the job is think. How can we make this process cheaper, more efficient to deploy to others?
Wow. So in which places have you deployed this smart farm concept so far?
So right now we have, the first one we did was in Shagamu, Araromi Ake in Shagamu. That was for a client. There I used that as a prototype to see how would it work. Now we have our own in a place called Wasimi in the Wekoro local government, also in Ogun State.
Wow.
And we are calling it a prototype because we want to say, government, this is what you need to do with agriculture. Youth are no longer saying no to this form of agriculture because one, you are sure of your shelter, you are sure of food,
Of your bread.
and you are connected to the world. Much more than that, you are able to leave the farm, meet your friend that works in a bank, and you are able to interact, and you have even more value than the guy in the bank.
Yes.
Now, youth won't say no to that, but youth would always say no to hoes and cutlass.
Definitely, because that concept has to definitely change. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been having a very deep and interesting conversation with Mr. Samson Ogbolewi, who is a researcher in aeroponics, hydroponics, and one more thing I learned today, P-ponics. Don't say that loud. So before you go, what are you doing next, Samson? What are you doing next in the agricultural space? What should we look forward to from you?
Yeah, the next thing we are working on are the plant sensors. Right now we are running a prototype. We've not deployed it yet openly, which is, as a farmer, you want to know what is wrong with your plant per time. So the plant sensors we are working on is such that as a farmer, you are in your house, your plant can send you text messages or emails.
Are you serious?
Telling you the state of their health.
My plants can send me text messages. Plants.
Yes.
Mr. Samson, you have to tell me more about this.
Yeah, what it simply means is, take for instance, we know what the plant needs. They need nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, and all of that. So we are trying to deploy different nutrients tanks. So the plant knows I need nitrogen. So as it is sending you a text message, automatically it also sends a signal to the nitrogen reservoir to get the nitrogen it needs.
Wow.
We believe once we are able to do this as part of precision agriculture, it is going to help ensure that agriculture in Nigeria is not just profitable, but it is predictable.
Wow.
And healthy.
This is wonderful. So I got to learn a lot of things on this episode, and I'm sure you do too. Now plants can send SMS. Ladies and gentlemen, it's still your show. You know how we do it right here. This is your #1 technology show on TV. I'm your host, MD Tiamiyu. The show is Tech In, Tech Out. But before we say goodbye, you know, I always want to share with you some important tips and tricks that will change your technological experience like this. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned to Tech In, Tech Out. Glad to have you back. This is that segment of the show where I share with you very interesting technology tips and tricks that will turn around your digital experience like this. And my tip #1 for this week is a Google map tip. Google Maps is actually a service that's provided by Google itself. It naturally comes with an Android phone, but if you do not have it, you can actually go to the Play Store to download it. It is the same thing for people who use the iOS, which is the Apple iPhone. When you download your application, when you download the Google Maps application, you see it right there on your desktop or the home screen of your phone. When you launch it, you actually can specify your location A, which is where you are, and location B, which is where you want to go to. The recent updates on Google Maps require you to just provide one update. When you do that, you have to make sure that your GPS is actually turned on. Google reads where you are right now and calculates how much of a distance lies between you and your destination. There's something very interesting about this. It tells you the distance and also the time, the estimated time of arrival. Also, the application has the ability to suggest several routes for you, talking about the fastest and the shortest and some of the long routes between you and the destination. One other very interesting thing is the ability to use voice. Yes, Google Maps are voice enabled, which means you actually can set your location with your voice, and the application is powered also to talk back to you if you turn on the voice. And so in some instances, it tells you that you have 180 kilometers to your destination, and it also tells you that in another 2 minutes your destination will be to your left. If you have been using this, you agree it's a great service. But if you're new to Google Maps, I want you to try it and let us know how that fares. Ladies and gentlemen, on your favorite show, Tech Out is WhatsApp for business. Do you know there is a dedicated version of WhatsApp application for your business, and it's actually free? You actually can go to the Google Play Store and download this application. It has the regular WhatsApp icon, but with a big B standing for business inscribed in the icon. When you download it, it gives your business a separate and a very unique meaning. The WhatsApp for Business application was built specifically to promote businesses. You also can actually use a landline or a normal regular phone number to register for this. This application allows you to communicate more intimately and efficiently with your customers, and it gives your customers a sense of seriousness. It makes them know that you take your business very seriously. I want you to try this tip. If it works for you, that makes it a very good one. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it on tips and tricks for this week. Before I go, I'd like to share with you a quote from Albert Hubert, an American author, publisher, and philosopher. Albert opined. Albert said, "One machine can do the work of 50 ordinary men, but no machine can do the work of one extraordinary man." Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a wonderful time with you. Thank you for staying with us on this show. My name remains MD Tiamiyu, and this is your number one favorite technology show on Aleeftvng. Tech in, tech out. Till next week that I come your way again, stay blessed.